Good morning, everybody, and welcome. It's so good to see all of you here today. So glad to have you commenting and sharing your greetings already this morning. I encourage you to do that throughout this time that we have together today. I might say some things today that you want to comment on, and I would love to hear your thoughts and your ideas. It's great to have you with us today, and I hope this time is helpful for you this morning. I understand that one of the fun things about online worship now is checking to see what has happened to Diana's office in the last week. It was clean on Friday when I left. Now the challenge is how much food can we get in Diana's office before Sunday morning, which I don't mind. Those of you who know me know that I am all about this, and I am so happy to be a part of it. My office is a great place to put things. I have plenty of room for it, and it's such a joy. This has been an amazing week, frankly, and it started last Sunday. I can't believe it's already been only been a week since I last talked with you online like this. Last Sunday, I got to share with you all the hope that we have for Coon Rapids UMC, Coon Rapids Early Learning Center, and Spirit of Matthew 25, all here in the huge increase we've experienced with growth and financial gifts. And just it's just extraordinary to see how love wins, how well it wins when people get on board. And that includes you. You're right, Mary, I need more shelves. But that includes you. Your generosity has just been amazing. And we're so thankful for all the gifts that God seems to keep bringing together to make this all happen. We had an amazing week. After being able to share such good news with you last Sunday regarding our finances, which if you have a question about, email me. I'd be happy to send you the report and talk with you, whatever would help. Then on Tuesday night, we've started a new giveaway. So after last Sunday was great. And then on Tuesday night, we have the team already. We set up a lot of food and we served 110 people who were looking for help with food. And it was just an extraordinary night. And after that, we were up late here with Matthew 25 leadership, talking about visioning and planning and just trying to figure it all out because it's always changing and always in motion. And then Friday, when I was here, we were able to serve 305 people Friday night who came in looking for extra help with food. Again, we moved so much food this week, and not just ordinary stuff, but like 3 pallets of mangoes, you guys. 3 pallets. We still have some, by the way. If you would like some mangoes, stop by today around 11 o'clock. I got mangoes for you. Or come Tuesday, we've got mangoes for you. We've got so much food. And then Friday night, after all of that, we had a huge pickup from Ruby's Pantry. Everything's full. The refrigerators are full again. It's I don't know what came in today aside from what's in my office yet. So, what an incredible opportunity to be a part of the good in this world all week. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful to have had such a busy week because we had other things that we did this week. I think you know this as a country. We honored Martin Luther King Jr. on Monday. And ironically, we also inaugurated a new president on Monday. And oh boy, what a messy beginning we have here. Wow. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of wondering how all this is going to work. I mean, I'm really wondering how all this is going to work. Just based on what we've seen since Monday, I really don't know how all of this is going to work. And last Sunday, this was the challenge. And this is the theme that we have been working on for weeks now, all together now. Are we willing, as followers of Jesus? And I'll be honest with you, I am not the storm the Capitol kind of follower of Jesus. I am the love your neighbor kind of follower of Jesus. Can we figure out how to unify as Christians in this wildly polarized setting that we have right now in this country? Can we work together even in small groups on a small scale? Can we figure out how to deal with our differences? And I honestly don't know. I do not know. Um, the platforms that we stand on have a wide gap between them. And I don't know that I personally have uh, currently the readiness it takes to reach across the aisle. I know I'm a pastor. I'm supposed to be telling you all the right answers and all the things you're supposed to be doing, but I'm actually a person and I'm struggling with this because I'm angry about what's going on. And I'm really struggling with not being angry. Let's put it that way. I mean, I'm glad I had all those things to keep me busy this week because it would have been so easy to get caught in the belly of the media beast, especially with this sermon we heard from Bishop Buddy and the responses that followed. I'm going to talk about this today. And so if I've already offended you, that's okay. Um, you probably already signed off then. But if you find this helpful, I encourage you to say something, speak up, share a comment, share it with friends. Anyway, let's go forward. Also, ironically, the scripture that I had planned to talk about today, having no idea how important it would be right now, is this passage in the Sermon on the Mount. There, yes, I know, Mary, in the Sermon on the Mount, right after the stuff I've been talking about for months about you are the salt of the earth, you are the light of the world. This is the very first teaching. Hi, Katie. I've not met you. I would love to. This is the very first teaching that Jesus says after the opening of the Sermon on the Mount in the Gospel of Matthew. And oh boy, you have heard it said to those of ancient times, you shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment. But I say to you that if you're angry with a brother or sister, you will be liable to judgment. And if you insult a brother or sister, you will be liable to the council. And if you say, you fool, you will be liable to the hell of fire. Oh, I know you, Katie. Great to see you. Great to see you. Okay. Sorry, I just said hi to Katie right after saying liable to the hell of fire. Let me back up, back up and talk about this. Why did this have to be the scheduled passage today? Huh? It is. This is Jesus' words. I want to look at this really carefully, especially this last part about the hell of fire, because I don't think Jesus is teaching that if you're angry with a brother or sister or call someone a name, that you will go to eternal conscious torment after you die. In the original language, the word that is here underneath how they translate it, hell of fire, um, was this word called Gehenna. And Gehenna is a place, it was a place right outside Jerusalem where awful things happened. Research this, research Jesus Gehenna. You'll see a lot of different variants on how people interpret that. If you'd like more of the way that I think about it, then reach out. I'd love to share with you some links about what Jesus was probably talking about here, what I think he was talking about here. Um, but this place called Gehenna outside of Jerusalem was the awful things that were happening there were just terrible fighting, illness, um, competition for resources, and child sacrifices. Horrific things were happening um, at Gehenna. So when Jesus says to them, your brother or sister, um, you don't need to insult them because you're going to experience Gehenna. I think that's what Jesus is saying here. I want to look at the same passage. Oh, wait, let me continue. So when you are offering your gift at the altar, if you remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother or sister and then come offer your gift. We're going to get into this another week. So just hear it for now. Come to terms quickly with your accuser while you are on the way to court with him, or your accuser may hand you over to the judge and the judge to the guard, and you will be thrown in prison. Truly, I tell you, you will never get out until you have paid the last penny. So that's that whole passage that I was planning to talk about today. Let's look at this through Eugene Peterson's version, his paraphrase of it called The Message. Okay. Here's how Eugene Peterson offers us this passage from Jesus. You're familiar with the command to the ancients, do not murder. I'm telling you that anyone who is so much as angry with a brother or sister is guilty of murder. These are convicting words for me. I'm working to sort it out. Carelessly call a brother idiot, and you just might find yourself hauled into court. Thoughtlessly yell stupid at a sister, and you are on the brink of hellfire. Again, let's look at that word hellfire. Again, repeating what I said a few minutes ago, the word for that was Gehenna, which was a place outside of Jerusalem where awful things happened. And here's what I deduce from that: when we're unkind to other people, like judging and name calling, we're creating a modern day Gehenna. There are a lot of people who follow Jesus right now. Again, the love your neighbor type of follow Jesus right now, um, who are saying that we've already created the modern day Gehenna, that we're building a place where things aren't happening right, where people are damaged and hurt and don't have enough, and even our children are sacrificed in some way or another. Just a culture in which no one does well, no one. Um, and Jesus traces it right back to this anger and the way we act upon our anger for our brother or sister. He continues like this: the simple moral fact is that words kill. You know, maybe that's a little hyperbole for Jesus here, because he did speak in terms of hyperbole and in hyperbolic terms, and other people did too during that day. But man, I think you all know this, that you can really hurt someone with your words. Words can be very harsh. Yeah, Jan, we'll get into this. This is how I want you to conduct yourselves in these matters. If you enter a place of worship, about to make an offering, you suddenly remember a grudge a friend has against you. Abandon your offering, leave immediately, go to this friend and make things right. This is just not always possible. I told you, we're going to get into this. Then and only then come back and work things out with God. Or say you're out on the street and an old enemy accosts you. Don't lose a minute. Make the first move, make things right with him. After all, if you leave the first move to him, knowing his track record, you're likely to end up in court, maybe even jail. If that happens, you won't get out without a stiff fine. All right, so looking at this passage this week in light of all the crazy stuff that has happened since Monday and all of the noise that was made about, and frankly, name calling that went on about this sermon by Bishop Buddy, I started researching right away. What is Jesus talking about in this passage? Okay, so I want to look at what the NRSV Cultural Background Study Bible says about it first. Sometimes Jewish teachers would say something like, "You have heard it said, but I say," meaning, you thought it meant only this, but it actually means also this. The law limited sin, but Jesus' kingdom demands go deeper. The law said, "You shall not murder," but Jesus demanded, "You shall not want to murder." Take that word murder and make it less extreme. I think Jesus chooses the most extreme. What if it's, "You shall not want to harm another person"? You shall not want to, I don't know. I have this game on my phone I've been playing lately, and there's this button at the bottom with a little electric thing on it. And if I push that button, just certain tiles on the thing will light up and then just poof. Maybe it's, "You shall not want to push the little button and make certain people just disappear, or at least make them be quiet." Look at what the NIV application commentary says. Unreconciled anger is the inner equivalency of murder, which is impossible to repay. To leave problems unreconciled is to allow the sin that has been created to continue to destroy relationships between people. Oh, man, this is really hard. Fulfilling the law's command, do not murder, is not accomplished simply by avoiding legal homicide. Jesus reveals that the intent of the law is to nurture relationships. Okay, okay. So I'm getting it here. When Jesus teaches us about anger, he's really teaching us that we need to have healthy relationships with each other. But I don't know where anger fits in because I think it's okay to be angry about some of the things that are happening in our world right now. So let's keep going. The NIV application commentary continues. Jesus' disciples must have a daily urgency about maintaining the healthy life of their relationships, both with other disciples and with non-disciples. And another note in there is anything we do that strips away the personal distinctiveness of a brother or sister is a sin. All right, so what do you think? Oh, there's my note. Sorry, I had my slides out of order. I have a cold. I'm not thinking straight today. So now what do you think? All together now? Can we work together? Can we deal with the anger? What do we do about the anger? Is it okay to be angry about some of the things that are happening or are supposed to be happening or being ordered to happen? How does this work? These are my words. I'm certainly angry about what's happening. Shouldn't we be angry about some of this? Shouldn't we be? I'm also super angry about how Bishop Buddy was treated, the name she was called. You know, when I first heard her sermon, I really wanted to cheer her on, really cheer her on and be like, yeah, you're saying the stuff that those people need to hear. Convict them, right? But as time has gone on here, I've realized something that her words are for me too. I'm going to share some of her words. If you have not watched this whole sermon of hers, even if you've seen all the rhetoric about it, no matter what side you sit on, I encourage you to actually watch her sermon. Find the transcript if watching it bothers you. I'm just telling you, she speaks a message that matters, and I think she delivered it with grace. Listen to how she speaks. Unity is a way of being with one another that encompasses and respects our differences, that teaches us to hold multiple perspectives and life experiences as valid and worthy of respect. I struggle with what she's saying here. That enables us in our communities and in the halls of power to genuinely care for one another, even when we disagree. Now, I grant you that unity in this broad, expansive sense is aspirational, and it's a lot to pray for. It's a big ask of our God, who is worthy of the best of who we are and who we can be. But there isn't much to be gained by our prayers if we act in ways that further deepen the divisions among us. I want to address this just a minute because even if I'm angry for this person or angry up for this person or that person or angry about the things that are happening, I can still love my neighbor. I can still offer food no matter what hat they're wearing. I don't need to ask anybody's political affiliation at all. I don't need to ask what type of Christian they are or even if they're a Christian. None of that's relevant. We can do that. But I know that deep in my heart, outside of those food giveaways, I do tend to judge people who think differently than I do. And I know I talk to a lot of you. This is an issue for Christians. It's very hard right now because it Jesus is being represented in such different ways. It's hard to not be angry about that, no matter what side you're on, to be angry with the other side. I don't know. All together now? This is what Bishop Buddy was asking us for, and it's certainly what Jesus calls us to reconcile. I don't know. Let me continue with some of her words. The culture of contempt that has become normalized in this country threatens to destroy us. I believe her. We are all bombarded daily with messages from what sociologists now call the outrage industrial complex. This is what I meant by the belly of the media beast. They want you to keep watching. And to get you to keep watching, they're going to raise your anxiety. She says, we are all fallible human beings. Yeah. We make mistakes, we say and do things that we later regret. We have our blind spots and our biases. And perhaps we are most dangerous to ourselves and others when we are persuaded, without a doubt, that we are absolutely right and someone else is absolutely wrong. But I am right. Just kidding. Not really. Because then we're just a few steps from labeling ourselves as the good people versus the bad people. And the truth is that we're all people. We're both capable of good and bad. I want you to see this article by Jim Palmer. I don't know if you follow Jim Palmer or watch him. He's fascinating. He was a megachurch pastor who has certainly left that role and almost left Christianity. He would not call himself a Christian in today's culture, but he has great words of wisdom. He's very interesting. I encourage you to read him. Just, I don't agree with everything he says, but man, he has things to say. Listen to what Jim Palmer says about Bishop Buddy's sermon. Did we miss what Marianne Buddy was saying? This is the title of the article. That moment when you realize that an inaugural sermon was meant for you. Because I actually think her sermon was meant for all of us. I don't really want that to be true, but I think it is. Here's what he says. Since her sermon drew national attention on Tuesday, Buddy said in an interview that she has heard from many people who are grateful that someone was willing to speak on their behalf, as well as those who have said they do wish me dead. And that's a little heartbreaking. Man, is she gracious. She said, Jim Palmer says, honestly, regardless of where you stand on the political spectrum, I don't quite understand why Buddy's address was an offense to so many. I'm telling you, just watch it. It's hard to miss her olive branch in acknowledging that governance is always messy, never perfect, can't please everyone, and damn near impossible to pull off. And then he says, Buddy's remarks remind us that true spirituality must account for the complexities, fragility, and brokenness of the real world. As she pointed out, it's not that difficult to love those with whom we agree and get along. But it's quite a different thing to love those that we might consider enemies or even adversaries. I agree, Jim, but do I have to? He says, unless I'm missing something, the injunction of Jesus to love your enemies is not a partisan, but a universal admonition. Whether it's Republicans / conservatives hating Democrats / liberals, or Democrats hating Republicans or whatever, they both violate the words of Jesus. All right, did you just want to click off here? No matter where you sit on the political spectrum? Yep, I wanted to click off my sermon too, right? And then he writes, see this photo. This is all over. If you missed this week, I don't know what you were doing. Maybe you were busy giving away food, even as busy as I was this week. You can't miss this. Here's what he says. Maybe you see the person on the right as an evil villain. Or maybe you see the person on the left that way. She was certainly made out to be. You can disagree, debate, speak truth, resist, oppose, confront, work for change, and make a stand. But we just can't hate. And I'm going to tell you, I find that to be personally really, really difficult. There's a little more honesty. I have a long history, like maybe the first 40 to 42 years of my life, of being told that I was not very smart by men who were supposed to love me. And I believed them. And then when I stood up for myself, starting around age 42, 43 or so, with some help, big support, big help, when I began to really stand up for myself, I was suddenly called the very words that Bishop Buddy was called this week: nasty, mean, hater. I have a long history of someone telling me I'm less and of believing it. So believe me, this makes me really angry. What do we do with that? Jan, thanks for sharing that. What do we do with that? Oh, this is where I start praying. Okay, God, I don't know. And Anne Lamott's method of prayer is so great. She gives it three words: help, thanks, and wow. All I got to pray right now is help. I got thanks too. And I certainly have wow. But right now it's help. I don't know how to navigate this. Hear Jesus' words in John 17:22-23. I ask not only on behalf of these, but also on behalf of those who believe in me through their word, that they all may be one. This is Jesus' prayer to God just before heading up Gethsemane, that they all may be one. As you, Father, are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, so that the world may know, may believe that you have sent me. The glory that you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one as we are one. I in them and you in me, that they may become completely one. We have to. Yep. Ah, this is what we're working for. I don't know how to do it. So that the world may know that you have sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me, that they all may be one. Hear these words of 1 John 4:8. God is love. If we're going to represent God, then that's going to be love. I'm not quite sure what it's going to mean. Aside from giving away food, how else? What are we saying? What are we doing? God is love. And then in 4:12, no one has ever seen God. If we love one another, God abides in us. Oh, man, that's what I want. And his love is perfected in us. That's what we need. That's it. So, what do you think? All together now? How, as people who intend to follow Jesus, yep, Katie, thank you. How will we, as people who intend to follow Jesus, love our neighbor, even now? What's that going to look like in the coming days? Does it mean fighting for justice? Probably. Yeah. Does it mean tangible things like food? Sure. Does it mean dealing with ourselves when hatred starts to respond? There's so much vitriol and noise and hatred out there right now. How do we represent Jesus with strength? See, I think Bishop Buddy set a great example. How do we represent Jesus with strength and with sincerity and with the energy that anger brings? Because I think it's okay to be angry about these things. while also loving, while also offering grace. I don't know. This is probably the tallest order. All together now. Let's work on this together, friends. We're going to work on it over the coming weeks and days. I'm going to do everything I can to learn what it means to love more, and I hope you will do that too. I'm not sure what love will call us to do, and I knew it. Love called me to speak these words this morning. We need to love our neighbor as hard as it may be, because the healing that this world needs will not happen through hate. It will not. It will not happen through further division. It will not happen through the vile name calling. Do you hear my edge? It will not happen. It will happen through love. And we got a lot to learn. Or at least I do. I chose that song for various reasons. One is that's a song that just my mind and my heart go to all the time. That God would be the air that we breathe, our daily bread, a holy presence living within us. But also for the way that's arranged. And Joe, thank you. You do always do such a beautiful job. That the way that's arranged in the middle is that hymn. Breathe on me, breath of God, fill me with life anew, that I may love what thou dost love and do what thou wouldst do. I'm hoping this is a prayer for you today, too. And I agree, Katie, this is why we need community. We need to keep working together to figure out what love is calling us to do and who love is asking us to be. We need to keep representing Jesus, the Jesus who loves the neighbor in this world. Words aren't enough, actions required. So that's why I keep telling you guys get involved in the love that this world needs. In whatever way you can, get involved. I hope this has been helpful for you. Yes, Andrea, we should talk. Yes, I hope this has been helpful for you today, if not at least challenging. I just ask you again, go watch that sermon. Read some of the articles. If you want to friend me on social media, I'm not going to be offended by that. I'm always hesitant to friend anybody in this circle because I don't want them to be like, oh no, the pastor friended me. Now what do I do? You can, but feel free to reach out. I'd love to stay connected. I share articles and things that I think are helpful and useful, and we can do that together. So I just encourage you to reach out. Let's keep working together. No matter where you are, though, get involved. Get involved in community, and may God bless you with love in every breath, every thought, every word, and every step. And amen. Take care, everybody. I look forward to seeing you soon.